Yeah, wow. Thanks, Dave. I remember it must have been my first or second year, and Hoggy won the best and fairest. Don't know which one it was, Hoggy, you won a few. And Tolkie had done a highlight reel for him. I remember it was to a Powderfinger song, and I remember sitting back and thinking, geez, how good's this? Hoggy's really on top of his game. This video showing all his highlights for the year, which he had plenty of, and I just thought to myself, how good would it be to be Hoggy right now? And someone make a highlight video for me. And to sit back and watch that, it's pretty special. So I'd like to thank you, Rod. I could listen to you talk all day, Rod. You made me sound a lot better than what I was. And I appreciate everything, mate, that you've done towards this. To Timmy Petts for the video. Timmy, you've outdone yourself again, mate. That was really special. The photos were spot on. Even the footage in that O2, I didn't think I had a really good game, but you made me look pretty good there. Thanks to all the Hall of Fame committee, to Aaron Weathers, Jade Clements, good mates of mine. I know how many hours and the time that you guys put in to that. And not only that, but the amount of time that you guys put in North Albury. It's a huge effort, and it's people like you two that make North Albury the greatest club. And that means a lot, not just to me, but to everyone. You don't expect things like this, and you know, I never played footy to ever think I'd be up here as a legend, you know, with those other guys like Stan Sargent. We've created a bit of a bond with the games we've played here and been the top two game players, and I love seeing Stan at the footy. Seen him at the footy Anzac Day, and he was one of the first people I went up and had a chat to, and it's great to see North Albury people like that at North Albury. It's a huge honour, and really grateful and proud to have my name with North Albury's finest. Congratulations to all the other inductees, Vern, Bill, Rudy Johnson, another great number 2, Rudy. Carly and I actually bought and sold our first house through Rudy, and the only reason we did that was because you're a North Albury man, Rudy. My first senior captain, Doggy. I think I only played five games that year, Doggy. But I remember Doggy, he was loud, he was hard, and always trained really hard. And I always looked up to you, Doggy, in that year that we spent together. You know, I reflected on, you know, my life so far, and footy has been a massive part of it. And one of the highlights, you know, I got paid to play, I got paid to train and be fit and, you know, hang out with my best mates. Moved to the other side of the country, played over there, exploring WA. So I'm very fortunate to have lived that footy life. I came to North Albury as a 16-year-old skinny kid. I'd had a couple of years away from footy. I just lost the love for the game. And a great mate of mine, Nick McDonald, who's here tonight, him and his old man John got in my ear, and I think I got that little bug back. So I'd play at Ginger on a Saturday, and then I'd come in and play at North Albury on a Sunday. And the rest is history. That first year, I remember just getting excited just to get my name in that emergency list. And I reckon I used to cut out the Border Mail, the little clippets, and stick it on my wall. I think I was emergency about 15 times that year. So my wall was full of little name tags of D. Leslie emergency. So that first game I was named in the senior team. I was ready to cut it out, and the paper had me as David Leslie. So I was shattered. I couldn't cut that one out. I played most of that year in the seconds. Like I said, I played 5 senior games. And most of those 5, I sat on the bench, and a few people have mentioned him already, but Maxie Gifford was the one sitting next to me. Ross is here too, and I actually coached Max's grandson, Ross's son, in 2009 with Gilly. And Maxie would always get up. Dan, who kicked that goal? Because you just couldn't see around me. It's something I'll always remember. We had a great list that year, led by Ernie Whitehead, Lambo, fresh off a Morris medal, Robbie Murray, North Albury great, Doggy, Eka, Travis Hodgson, and Curry. Piltian Bomber were the young guns. They were at the VFL level. I think they played their one and only AFL game the year after. They were guys I looked up to. I used to love seeing Pilty in the gym. It was like he was carved. I had no shortage of great men around me in my early years. I remember Curry at training often screaming at you to push to get to his kick that was always going to drop short. Or you'd swing around on your left and hit a target and he'd be the first to yell at you, straighten up on your right. It'd be stuff like that that made me a better trainer and a better player. I think it took a few years to feel comfortable playing senior footy, and that 2002 year when Lambert threw me back was when I felt like I belonged. The premiership definitely being a career highlight. I was 19 at the time, and I thought it was easy. I thought, how good's this? We're going to win 5. We had a few opportunities to win a few more, 04 and 07, but that 5 didn't come. The 2010 year we had under Travis was one of my most enjoyable. We didn't make the grand final, but Hoggy got the most out of that team. I always tried to better myself and playing at the highest level. Rep footy I always enjoyed. I love playing O&M, Vic Country, going over to WA. It was the best thing and biggest learning curve I had. Footy was so much more than playing on a Saturday for me. It was the grind of pre-season training on those cold and wet nights that I couldn't do now, the shit talking that went on. That was all a part, everything was a time trial or a race or a PB, and still is. I remember doing the extra sessions up Monument on a Wednesday, goal kicking before we started training for an hour with a bin full of balls, going up in our high country camps with army sergeants, getting flogged in full army kit, drinking out of the river, packet of jelly beans to survive on for a day. Then we get back, we're all wrecked, get on the beers and listen to the stories. The footy trips to the races, the lady nights, hopper discos in my early day, that was what it was all about for me. Just a few thank yous. I'd just like to thank all my coaches. I was like a sponge and I took everything in. Ernie, my first coach, who gave me the opportunity. Corey Lambert, our premiership coach, taught me a lot. Hoggy, I'll get to him later. Bobby Craig, Jason Ackermanis. Acker was one of those guys that taught you a lot, and being where he's been was just huge. And for us to get him was a massive effort. And the one thing Acker taught me that I'll take for the rest of my life was don't care what other people think, and he never did that. So after he coached, I really did not care what other people thought of me, especially on the footy field. A lot of people don't like you. A couple of others that I didn't have at North Albury, but Peter Knights coached me for 6 years at North Albury, and he taught me about passion. He was a very passionate man. And Collingwood great Stan Magro, who had me over at Perth, he taught me how to train hard. All right, this guy, one of the biggest influences on my career, Travis Hodgson. He was not only the best player I've played with, he was like a big brother on the footy ground. He was always looking out for me, whether it was in our early days down back, playing on the big Gorillas hog, or I was running around chasing after his man so he could have 40. Later on in his career, we both moved forward. and I'd have 2 hanging off me, so it was Hoggy's time to pay back. He would always let my opponent know they were in for a hard day physically and mentally. He was someone who I wanted to play like, a great premiership captain. He was strong, he was tough, he was skillful, and as a coach, he always got the best out of his men. Now I just sit back and enjoy listening to your stories, Hog. I will be forever grateful for everything. Thanks, mate. To my kids, I don't think you can love anything more than your kids. So to have Charlize and Duke running around at the footy in the green and gold, wearing number 2 on their back, coming into the rooms after games, singing the song, sharing a protein shake on my lap, Duke, having a kick after the game, even though I couldn't move. Later on, I think he ditched me for you, Fozzie, which I was happy with. Some of my favourite memories I'll always have. Thank you to all my family and friends who've made the effort to come today. There's some big efforts. Hoggy coached today. Janine had the car warmed up so he wouldn't talk too much after the game. In he jumps, he comes in. Thank you, Janine and Travis. It's my brother and sister-in-law coming down from Melbourne. My other sister and her partner. You guys have been there from the start, so I appreciate all that. It's my teammates that are in the room. Pricey, I could name a few, I suppose. Who else is there? All the boys I mentioned earlier too. 2 of my best mates, Gilly and Bomber. We won a flag together in 02. Went missing for a few days, Gil. We've coached together. Current presence of the Auskick together, Duck. Weddings, kids. Lots of shit talking, mainly by you, Gilson. 2 of the best mates you could ask for. Thanks, boys. To my mother-in-law, Janet. She hasn't missed too many games and has been a huge support for Carly and myself over the journey. Thanks, Gran. Happy Mother's Day tomorrow. And lastly, Carly. The sacrifices she has made over 300 plus games, from moving to Perth, knowing no one, watching nearly every game in the freezing cold, rain, heat, wrangling kids for the last 6 years, travelling down to Melbourne for Vic Country training on Sundays, just so I'd stay awake, travelling to watch rep footy all over the place, listening to talk footy too much, and helping me hobble around after games. None of these achievements would not have happened without you. Thanks, Carly. Thank you.